This video is well overdue. I'm sorry that I didn't make it sooner. But anyway, we're here now, so. So today I am going to be doing a very requested video. I've said I'm going to film this for so long and I've just never got around to it, but today is the day I am filming it. As you can see by the title, I am going to be telling you things that I wish I knew before year 11. Now, I know if you're in year 11 or 13 now, you are under a lot of pressure. Let's just say that, like, you don't really know what's happening yet with the exams and everything, and I feel for you guys. Hopefully you're working hard and just you're doing your best, going with the flow basically, because nobody really knows what's going to happen. I'm going to be sharing some tips that I wish I knew before year 11. Some of these I started really late year 11 and some of them like before. I've just got a load of stuff on my notes which I'm going to talk through. Yeah, hopefully you find this video helpful. You may know a lot of this stuff already, but for the people out there that don't know about this, I hope it helps. If you're in year 9, 10 now and stressing about year 11, this video may be able to prepare yourselves a little bit more. The first one I feel like everybody knows, but it is to just start making revision sources as soon as possible. Now, I am actually quite guilty of not doing this, but if I could go back in time, I definitely would have started making them earlier than I did. Whether that's flashcards, mind map, online resources, making massive note pages, whatever you like the best. I have a revision techniques video up, you can see it here, which a lot of you guys did find pretty helpful, hopefully. So if you are struggling slightly to try and find what revision technique suits you best, I definitely recommend to watch that video, because, you know, I just speak about what I find the best to use and just the ones that I use. I personally I used a lot of techniques. I never really stuck to one. If you do find your one, stick to it and use it throughout the year, because I cannot stress that enough. Like, it is important. Just keep on top of your notes all the time. For A level, I've been trying to do that now. I know it's sometimes hard to find the motivation. I have another video up for that as well. I did try for quite a bit to just get home and write flashcards on the stuff that I'd done. Obviously, there's exceptions, like I didn't always manage to do that. Yeah, try your hardest to just keep on top of everything and just work as hard as you can. I really did find out this a little bit later in year 11, so I didn't really have, you know, the opportunity to do it every single lesson. You can do that if you're in year 10 or 9 now. Keep that in mind, make your notes. Okay, the next one is a super important one, especially for the sciences and the maths, all your subjects. I'm not gonna lie, art, it wasn't as handy for me, but that is to read the specification. If you're doing GCSEs now and you don't know what the specification is, listen up. I again probably found out later on in the year how important this was. There's always a specification for your specific exam board. For me it was mostly AQA, but obviously there's OCR and EdXL for quite a few. All you have to type in is, let's say, biology, AQA, GCSE specification, and it's a lifesaver. For A level it is not as handy because there's so much content, it doesn't really explain all the stuff to you. You just have to sort of like read it and then like know loads about that. For GCSE it is literally so good. It's just all you need to know. So if you've got the specification down, it will help you so much, I promise you, because at the end of the day the stuff in the spec is the stuff that's going to be on the papers, because that's what they go off. Print them out if you can. I know there's a lot of pages. I managed to print the A level one off at school. Thankfully I didn't have to use my own printer because it was like 70 pages long. Honestly recommend it, and then you can highlight when you've like covered the topic and know about it, or you can highlight it if you've, let's say, made flashcards for it or made mind maps for it or something like that. It is also super handy if the teacher misses something out, and it does happen. Like, they're not gonna remember necessarily everything that's there. Missed out a fact, a really important fact, and it says it on the specification, you'll be ahead of the rest and you'll know that in the exam. And another point about the spec, there's quite a few, but it's that the most important thing about them, the wording on it. Follow the wording on the spec, because you will know it's 100% right. It's literally the most accurate thing that you can get. Next one is probably the most important, 100%, and that is past papers and examiner reports. Doing as many past papers as you can find helps so much. Just get used to the type of questions that they can ask. Then when it's like a different one, you're like, Hang on, I've kind of seen that on another one. How did they follow it? Obviously look at the mark scheme at the same time, because there's no point in just you answering the questions and not knowing where you've gone wrong. All you have to type in is just the past paper for the subject, just go through them. The examiner report, I feel like not many people know about. They probably do, to be fair, but I didn't. It was my mum that mentioned it to me because she's a teacher as well. The report goes through the papers and tells you where the students lost marks, tells you where they should have like said this or said that. You always find them with the past papers and the question paper, the past papers and the mark schemes, and then there's always the examiner report underneath. Just read through it, you know, just read through it where most people have gone wrong and make sure you don't make the same mistake as them. Okay, so the next one is definitely something that I did later on in year 11, I'd say. I tended to do it for the sciences and the maths because I couldn't really do this for my other subjects really. Reading and looking at what's coming ahead is very, very handy. It is most likely that you will have no understanding of what it is. I mean, you might if you've been doing stuff similar to it, but most people, if it's new stuff, you won't really know what it's on about until your teacher teaches it. I mostly did it for biology, not gonna lie, because that was my favourite science. It's the one that I'm taking for A-level, so I just tended to, before the next lesson, read the textbook just for the next page. Your teacher's saying all the words, you're like, oh yeah, I read that, or yeah, I know this answer because I read that. That's why I feel like all teachers should sort of tell you what's coming next lesson in case like people do want to go home and do it. I guess you could stay at the end of the lesson and just ask them. If you're in year 11 now, let's try and start doing that, especially for the sciences. Just take a little read of the next page, and you can do it from the textbooks, which again, another point, definitely get the textbooks. If you don't, I feel like that one's quite self-explanatory though, because your teachers tell you to get them. Next point is do not stress. If you are going into year 11, the jump is not as big as people make it out to be, people think it to be. In my eyes, it's literally the same as year 10. Like, the content doesn't get any harder because it's in the middle of learning it. Of course, it's a little bit more stressful because it's like the year you're doing your exam. But yeah, just do not worry about it because there's no need to at all. Just be organised, you know, do your homework when you get it, make your flashcards, make occasional timetables, especially if you've got a half term before like mocks or something. Or if you've got folders, keep them tidy. I tried to, but it just doesn't always, it's not realistic, like it didn't always happen. Okay, and the next one I'd say is when you're revising, take breaks and just plan your time wisely. Something I did not really do towards mocks, I absolutely tired myself out so much. You know, I was so dead at school, so dead, because I was just working so hard. I was staying up really late doing it as well. And wisely say, right, I can get home from school, I'm going to do 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, whatever you want, revision of this. I'll have a break, I'll watch something and move on to something else, or I can have a chill night. You know, as you've done something and you've planned your time well, you'll be fine. Okay, so another one that I've written down is to watch videos. Now this depends if you're more a visual active type of learner, but videos, I lived off them. Like, I literally watched videos for pretty much all subjects: English, history, maths, all the sciences. I just did it for everything, especially if you're always working at a textbook and flashcards and haven't thought to try out videos. Try them, because even if it's just to switch things up a little bit, it can be really handy, especially when they're like talking to you. I think I took the information in more, maybe, I'm not sure, but try it. Okay, and the last one is probably such a big one as well. It's to work as hard as you can throughout the whole entire year. I feel like that is definitely more the case with coronavirus now, especially everybody's working super hard because they don't know what's happening with the exams. But I would be saying this anyway, even if COVID didn't exist, because it didn't exist for me. For all of my mocks, I tried my absolute hardest. I literally almost treated them as the real things. And you know, most people were always like, oh, it's just mocks, they don't matter. Turns out they did, so that's why I was very, very, very thankful that I did revise for them, because literally that and coursework and stuff ended up being our GCSE results. So, as well as trying super hard for mocks, try super, super hard for your homework. Every single homework I did 100% effort in, and if I didn't know something, I looked it up. Do your work and the homework and everything to your absolute best. If you do that, I feel like you get into the exam technique more, instead of just leaving blanks and stuff like that. Like, just try and do it all. It honestly really helps. I think that is everything that I'm going to cover. I've already missed quite a lot of stuff out. I think I covered most of the main points. If you've got any questions about year 11 or going into year 11 or going into year 12 even, comment them down below and I will happily reply to all of your comments. So it could be on anything or what other videos you want to see or just anything like that. I will reply to you. So yeah, I hope you found this video helpful in some way. You may have heard all of these points before, but for the people that didn't, hopefully you'll find it useful. Yeah, I'm currently in year 12 and the jump was pretty big, I'm not gonna lie. I'll be able to make like videos on like, you know, on stuff like that in the future, so make sure to subscribe down below and give this video a thumbs up if you did enjoy it. It means a lot. Yeah, thank you for all the support recently, it means the world, and I'll see you in my next video. Love you, bye.